This is Chamber Chat on Chamber Channel 3 and 117.2, brought to you by Mansmith's Pharmacy, where your care is their only concern.
This is Chamber Chat, brought to you by Mansmith's Pharmacy, and I'm Deb Height. Today we're visiting with Renee Judlicka, and Renee is a co-president of the AAUW Women's Group. And we're going to talk about a couple of things that the AAUW has going on right now. And welcome, Renee.
Thank you very much, Deb.
So which item would you like to talk about first? The one that's going to happen first or the garden tour?
I think we'll start with the Girls' Day at the Park.
Okay.
And first I just want to tell you that some people don't know what AAUW is, but as you say, we're a women's organization. And we basically support education and equity for women. Okay. That's our state goal and our national goal. And so a number of years ago, we decided that we needed to do something more locally related to girls. And this organization is open to men and women, but our focus has mostly been on women and girls in education. So we thought, what could we do in our county? And so we started what's called Girls Summer Kickoff. And we work with the Palo Alto County Conservation Board on that. And the idea came that we learned that girls do much better in confidence, in taking risks, in being creative, if they are outdoors and if they try outdoor things. And I should say calculated risks. So we started working with Miriam Patton on this, and it's really become a really nice event. It's going to be on June 6th, which is next Thursday. And it will be from 9:30 to 12:30 at Soper Park in Emmitsburg. Mm-hmm. And it will involve, this year, 3 different activities for girls going into 5th through 8th grade, anywhere from Palo Alto County, or if someone's visiting, we're always welcome to any of those age girls coming. And the 3 activities this year they'll be in sessions, so they'll all get to canoe on Five Island Lake. They also will be doing sketching. Bev Norland, who's one of our members, wonderful. And is a wonderful local artist.
Yes, she is.
Every year works with them, and this is one of their favorite. We get great reviews about this. She works with them with clipboards, and she decides what they're going to sketch. They sketch something different every year, and then she actually talks to them and helps them, and she sketches as well. And then it's neat to see who ends up with her sketch.
Oh,
because
nice.
Somehow she has a little number that you get to pick a number, and then you get to her actual beautiful sketch too. So that's a neat activity. And then the third thing we decided to do this year is cooking over the fire. So all of the girls at some point throughout the morning will be making one of those hamburger vegetable stews. Mm-hmm. And then we're also going to there's some sort of a bananas dessert in the fire. I'm not sure on that one. And then they're going to do those ice cream in the bags where you shake the ice cream with ice and make that. So they'll be eating as well at this event. It's totally free to the girls. We usually kick it off by saying where we went to college and why we think education is important for girls. And then we also mention what we like to do personally outside and why we think being outdoors is really important. So I'll give the number in case people know of any girls that would be interested. They can certainly call. We'd like to have reservations this week, but we will take reservations all the way through June 5th, the day before this event.
Oh, that's nice.
712-837-4866. And that's the Nature Center, the County Conservation Board, 712-837-4866. And again, it's June 6th, next Thursday, from 9:30 to 12:30 at Soper Park. Girls ages 5th, going into 5th through 8th grade.
Awesome. So what ages, do you know what that is?
Isn't that a good question?
Yeah, it is a good question. It's a couple years ago.
10 through 14 or something like that.
Okay, well, the important thing is the grades.
And we had, sometimes they bring their little sister, but because of the canoeing and some of that, we like them to be a little older than lower elementary school. So
well, it sounds like a wonderful day.
It is. Let's hope. We do it rain or shine, so let's hope it's not considering this year, let's hope it's a beautiful day.
That's right. And talking about rain, the next thing we're going to be talking about is a garden tour. And my goodness, people are just dying to get in their gardens and do have a little sunshine. So how is your garden tour coming along?
Well, normally we don't have the garden tour this early, which is sort of giving us a quandary because this year it's even later in terms of people's gardens. They're running at least 2 to 3 weeks late. But we have wanted to feature Hadley's Garden for a long time. And Hadley's live at 708 Monroe Street, which would be east of Kerber Milling. And it would be Dave and Carla Hadley. And they have a beautiful spring garden. And they have a number of things that you don't see at a lot of gardens in Emmitsburg. So we've promised them we would have them on the tour. We finally did an early one. And well, who knows, but
By then it's got to be good because that's the day of our bad golf.
oh, that's right. Okay, that's a busy day that Friday. Yeah, I should mention the date. Did I say that? It's a Friday, June 7th from 4 to 8. We're going to do a Friday evening this year for the garden tour and see how that works for people. We're hoping maybe they can come right after work and come to it. So, all right. So, should I start by telling you about each of them?
Sure,
or how would
sure.
you-
So we've got the garden tour on Friday, June 7th. So what homes are we visiting? What kind of gardens are we going to?
Okay, 3 gardens. Hadley's that I just mentioned. We are going to put Christensen's garden on the tour again. Cal and Jamie Christian's right behind the hospital. Christensen right behind the hospital. And then Dr. Crow Rodney has a brand new garden at Rockport. So that's the 3rd garden that we're going to feature. And I think these are all very different gardens. Dr. Crow Rodney's garden is not a flower garden. It is more to look at landscape and landscape design and use of conifers and shrubs, whereas Hadley's is very much a native type of a garden in some ways. It has a lot of prairie effect to it in an old house. And Jamie and Cal Christensen's garden is a wonderful garden that is, everything is labeled. It's almost like going to an arboretum when you go when you go to their garden. So very different gardens for people.
Sounds very exciting.
And some people just go to one. We sell tickets at every one of them, and the tickets are $5 per person. That covers all 3 gardens, so you can just show up at whatever one. Will give you a name tag, and then you can go to the other gardens.
So Renee, you said the gardens are all very diverse. Why don't you explain a little bit about each one?
Sure. Dave and Carla Hadley's garden, it sets up on a hill, which in Emmitsburg it's unusual to have a house on a hill, but it's a really nice older 120-year-old house, I think he told us, house sitting on a hill, and it has a really lovely entrance as you go up the driveway. I think it's important for people to look at the garden as they come up the driveway because they have a neat stone wall they have put in as you come up, and then there'll be iris, and I'm hoping all those iris will be in bloom as you drive up. And at the top of the hill with the house is this lovely pond that they have put in a number of years ago. And 12 years is what it actually told us. And it has huge koi in it. I mean, huge koi. And he will talk to people about how he leaves those in there year-round and how he doesn't feed them. And it's very interesting. I haven't ever seen that big a koi in one of these local gardeners' ponds, so it's neat. They also have lots of hosta, lilies, coneflowers. They have a secluded woody feel behind their house. In fact, Dave would recommend to people when they come on the tour to come all the way up and then go around and sit on the back porch. They have a nice back porch that looks toward the pond, but it also has more of a woodsy feel in town as you sit on the back porch or the back porch swing. And right behind is what I think is really interesting. Lots of people try to get rid of lily of the valley. It bothers them. It can be invasive. But I like for people to look at how they've used lily of the valley effectively. And it's a special type of, it looks about the same, but it has a really nice scent. And he said he got it, actually, Dave said, from his mother. I think it's an Illinois type of lily of the valley. But he's used it around his house, and he just mows it where he wants it to stop. So I think people should take note of that. They also have the original historic hitching block in the front.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
most
how
people
neat.
would never see that unless you came into their yard and came to the front and noticed that hitching block. And a lot of neat old trees, old lilac bushes. They also have a river birch, a blue spruce, crab apple cherry tree. And I just think people need to come up, walk up the hill, look at it, and come all the way around the house and really get a nice feel for that neat older house and how they have done their garden.
It always amazes me. I know the Hadleys are both very busy people, and how they can have the time to have such a lovely garden and such a nice place to sit and relax. It's, hats off to them for
That's
making the time.
Well, and all of these people, they, I think you're right. I think that they also realize that it's a creative way to express themselves, sort of like painting
Sure.
or writing, and this is how they choose to do it. And he told us that they have really nice talks and visits as a family and as a couple on their back porch. So I think that's neat too.
You bet. Okay, let's talk about Cal and Jamie Christensen's home.
Well, this house has been on the tour, but this garden has been on the tour before. As I mentioned, it's a labeled garden. It's amazing. This couple came together as gardeners and really have been able to work together. What Cal had there originally, Jamie has left, but she's also accented with all kinds of things. So when you come in, we are hoping the Baptisia will be in bloom, and he had designed, it's really a designed garden. You come in through these two baptisma into the front of the garden, and that'll be large purple plants. Some people aren't familiar with that plant, but it's a neat plant that blooms in the earlier spring or spring. Then his feature is really a whole bunch of daylilies. He has over 90 varieties of daylilies.
Oh my.
But those don't bloom until July. So we have had their garden on tour before in July when the daylilies are in bloom. However, they're all labeled, and if people are interested in hybrid daylilies, I think this garden would still be of interest just because you can see all the different identification tags of those. And then as you come around the house, past the daylilies, the back garden is what people don't normally see, which is a beautiful cottage garden. There's nothing quite like it that I know of in Emmitsburg. It has perennials and annuals both. It has walls, as you're supposed to do in gardening, that are made of different climbing roses. So that's really a neat effect with the roses behind the garden, the flowering garden. Lots and lots of flowers at this house. I think that would be a feature people would really notice. And the thing that's really different is they have what they call bittersweet on the silo, which is a silo that's about this high, an ornate looking silo, and bittersweet grows all around it. And it has a door and it has windows, and you can get into it and get underneath of it. And as you can imagine, their grandchildren love this. It's just a neat garden feature that you come in and see it right away, so that's cool. On the north side of the house, I want people not to forget that it has coral bells, clematis, some shrub roses as you come around. And of special note with that garden, Jamie and Cal both are also vegetable gardeners. And Cal is working with the college this year on a vegetable garden. And there will be a tour of that sometime in the fall, specifically using the vegetables from there for the college food service. So it's a cooperative event. We started doing that a couple years ago. Last year we had lots of tomatoes, watermelon, potatoes. So this year they've expanded it even more. But Jamie grows lots of vegetables under grow lights, and she grows lots of annuals. So you can see that collaborative effort where she's got her grow lights and he's working with their own garden plus the garden that is at the college.
Wow.
So this is one that's right behind the hospital, 102 North Wallace. I think people are confused sometimes where North Wallace is. But if you just think behind the hospital, it's the first house right there, and you'll know right away because it's got beautiful flowers in the front.
Sounds wonderful. Okay, I've been to Dr. Evna Crow Rodney's home when it was just first built, and she, has a lovely, lovely home. So let's talk about her backyard.
Well, this is a brand new garden, so people need to realize that, just landscaped. She told us that she had a friend from Barbados that came up here. He studied our climate, and he did buy all local things that would grow in this climate. But he did a really nice design, lots of mound gardens. She was hoping for scent gardens, so that when she would come at certain places, you would get different smells or scents at certain places. So those have all been designed into it. I really think when you come to this garden, it's a small front garden, but of course this is a home at Rockport, so it's on the lake. So you need to come to the back, and you really need to walk down to the lake. They have a really nice stone white path, and then turn back and look at the house from the lake, because I think that's when you really can see how the landscape has been designed. And you can see the use of repetition in gardening, the use of variety of textures. It's a lovely garden. It's brand new, so I think people need to realize nothing looks big yet. But I think it gives a garden designer an idea what you could do and how you might lay out something. And if you're not interested in perennials or flowers, which are a lot of work, this garden is an ideal one to look at for what I would call more of a low maintenance garden.
It sounds very interesting. Oh, we're looking forward to it. So this is Friday, June 7th. And tell us again about where we get our tickets.
4 to 8 p.m. on Friday, June 7th, Friday evening. Tickets are available at all these homes.
Okay.
So I'll mention again Dave and Carla Hadley, 708 Monroe Street, Cal and Jamie Christian, 102 North Wallace, and Dr. Crow Rodney at 214 Ford Road, Rockport.
Awesome. Well, thank you for all you're doing to keep things going on in the community. It's always fun to have these new things that we can go to each season. And also, it's interesting that we'll be able to see spring flowers because, you know, they're kind of short-lived sometimes, and so this will be a great opportunity.
Thank you very much, Deb.
You're welcome. It's nice to have you, and we thank you for joining us today. This has been Chamber Chat brought to you by Mansmith's Pharmacy, where your care is their only concern.
This has been Chamber Chat on Chamber Channel 3 and 117.2, brought to you by Mansmith's Pharmacy.